Hey everyone, this is Brian Holmes with the Strategic Living Podcast and BrianHolmes.com. You're listening to my great friend Stephanie O'Brien, and you are about to be moved by purpose.
If you can't trust me to do what you hired me to do, then we don't need to work together.
Are you longing to know what your purpose is? Are you on the wrong career path? Do you feel like there must be more to life? Don't worry, there's hope. It's time to be moved by purpose. Now your host, Stephanie O'Brien.
Hey, you're listening to Stephanie O'Brien with the Moved by Purpose podcast. Today I continue on the conversation with the co-host, Career Cache. Also, her full name is Cache Prescott, but Career Cache is so catchy, I keep saying that instead. But anyway, today is part 2 of the Conquering Chaos, 8 Steps to Conquering Chaos. If you didn't listen to part 1, go ahead and listen to that, and then listen to part 2. Next week, we'll be talking about getting back on track. So make sure you listen to this whole Cache and Stephanie co-host series on Conquering Chaos and getting back on track. That's really good. And I love that, writing it down and writing the names of the people. And this doesn't just have to be a business. I give a lot of examples because of working with a team, but this could also be, let's say you're planning a big event, a shower or a party or some kind of thing you're putting together. Those can be overwhelming. Who can you ask to help? Like, why are you the one making all the phone calls and now going to the store? And then now you're also making the food and setting it up and like, that's just, what are you doing?
And yes.
So you write it down and then you write the names of the people that can help you. And absolutely, what is it that only you can do or should be responsible for? Unless you have older kids that are capable of this, but you're probably not going to give your 6-year-old the responsibility to pay out the people if you got it catered. You're not going to give them that.
I have a 7-year-old and that would never cross my mind.
Yeah, but that goes to like give an example of, I mean, for the entrepreneur, I want to give this example that thinking how ridiculous that is to think of giving a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old the responsibility of paying, you know, maybe the caterer or whoever you might have contracted if you ordered a tent or whatever. But there are, say you're trying to hire an assistant or your first VA, be realistic with what this one person can handle. And that was another mistake I made was, okay, I can't do it all, so I'm going to hire someone else. But then I'm going to expect them to do it all. Like, it's just, you know, that was my realization. I'm like, oh my goodness. Delegation is definitely a learned skill. It's not that easy. I definitely recommend that you need to start, but like anything, there's a learning curve with that. But just get going. Yes. But you were saying something. You have a VA background, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where my world and my step into entrepreneurship began. And the clients that gave me the ability to do what they hired me to do and trusted me, and you got to understand how important trust is in the relationship. Whomever it is that you're delegating to, you need to trust that they can do the job. You need to trust them as a person, but you also need to show that you trust them by not micromanaging and just looking over the shoulder at every turn, because that is a quick way to get on someone's nerves and make them just fire you as a client, because really and truly they're entrepreneurs as well. So they don't have to deal with you looking over their shoulders at every point in time. They can fire you as a client. And there were some instances where I said, you know what? I'm done with this situation. I know what I'm doing, and I've done this a number of times. And if you can't trust me to do what you hired me to do, then we don't need to work together. So, yes, I can definitely sympathize, whether, you know, it's an employee or a virtual assistant or whomever. When people show that they don't trust you, it really doesn't make you motivated to give them your best.
That's good. That could be a whole other podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So we could talk all about delegation, but we got to move on. But I do love that you have that background. You have both the leadership background and then the one where you were, I mean, still a leader working for yourself, but the work that you did was assisting other businesses or other business owners. So I love that you offer that, because that, I think personally, equips you to be all the more effective and powerful leader. Because you sympathize, you know what it's like.
Definitely. So when I do have people that, I try to come join my team, yes, I understand where they're coming from. And if I invite you to come join the team, I have to trust you because I hired you to do something. I have to trust that you have that skill to do it.
Very good. Very good. We'll probably have to do a whole episode on delegation. Let's move on. Number 4. Okay, this is also very tough. This one's very tough. And this is forget about it or let it go and let it be. And this is done after, when you said, this kind of expounds further on, look at, you should only do the things that you know how to do. You can delegate the rest, but there are some things that you shouldn't be doing right now and that you can't necessarily delegate.
True indeed.
And so you have to let it go. Or just let it be. Like, let it sit there. You know you need to get it done. You know eventually it needs to get done. But right now, in this chaotic season, you have to let some things go. And this goes hand in hand with me when I say, like, oh my gosh, I find all the list of all the things I haven't done, and then it can just feed it and just get overwhelming and really nasty. But those are the things that's like, okay, you haven't done it up until this point. Unless it's absolutely critical, it can wait. Or you can maybe just not do it.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Like, what can you let go of? So do you have any experiences with having to let things go, forget about it?
Oh, yeah. Because I know there are some things on my own to-do list that remain there. And after each iteration of that list, and, I come back and I see it and I'm just like, okay, I haven't done this in the past, say, 3 months. Is it really a priority? And so sometimes, I just have to mark it out and just remove it from the list, or maybe give myself a reminder for later in a few months to revisit that particular thing. But right now, that is not the priority. Clearly, if I haven't taken care of it, it's not the priority.
Yep. Now, for revisiting it later, I mean, would you recommend maybe putting that on the calendar, or if you know it's part of a goal that you want, but the current goals that are priority are stuff you have your attention to, but it somehow fits into your next goal you're going to be working on? Or do you just say, like, just let it go completely? Just let it go entirely?
It definitely depends on the task at hand, but I am a firm believer in putting, if it's something that is important enough and it's something that does need to be done, I will put it in the calendar as a reminder to pop up maybe a month from now or 6 months from now, whatever the case is, where I think it might fit into the grand scheme of things. And if it's something that is just not going to fit in and it's not a must-do, then I have no problem with removing it. But if it's something that is contributing to the greater cause and I need to eventually revisit it, I would put in my calendar and just have it pop up and have a reminder or something.
Yeah, me too. But I find, and I don't know about you, and maybe because everybody operates at a different speed, but I'm a very fast-paced person, and my mind...
Yes, you are.
And my mind moves like a rocket. So, when I'm writing things down, especially when I'm in create mode, oh my gosh, I have a hard time keeping up with me. And so... Oh, bless my team. Yeah, just bless anyone that has to deal with me. Like, I just get super excited about every idea, and everything is like the best idea ever. And so I write down all these things, and mainly to get it out of my head. And it really just helps inspire even more creativity. It's just more momentum. But I also have to be really, really careful in that mode, because that oftentimes is what has led me into the chaotic situation that I have found myself to be in, which is everything's exciting and every idea is just so awesome. I want to take action and do it now. And instead of asking myself, is this what I need to be doing right now? What does this have to do? And this is going to tie into our next episode on getting back on track and staying true to your goals. So it's a little teaser, but it's like, you can't chase every shiny object that comes your way. And for me, that's just kind of how I am wired, is to get really enthusiastic about everything and really excited about any new idea and to start going all in for that idea. But the problem is you're almost like sprinting a marathon. And unless you are an Olympic trainer to handle that, you can't handle that.
And I'm kind of the complete opposite. I'm an ideas girl, and I write down any and everything. But to actually make a move and start executing, I suffer from analysis paralysis. So I will analyze it to death. And I've learned the hard way that in my indecision, I am making a decision one way or the other, and it may not be the decision I want. So I'm learning to be a little bit more like you and be a bit more proactive when I have these ideas. But yeah, I'm a work in progress. But like you said, everything that glitters isn't gold, really. You know, just because that shiny opportunity is right in front of you, sometimes we think, oh, well, if I don't take advantage of it right now, then I'm never going to have this opportunity again. And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes where you're going to have to pass up some seemingly great opportunities and keep your eye on the prize for something else that you're doing. And it's hard. It's really, really, really hard when you're just like, oh my goodness, this seems like the greatest opportunity. But sometimes you have to say no, and it may not be what you want to do. But the closed doors of opportunity aren't necessarily a bad thing. It keeps you on the path to what you're supposed to be working on.
Yes. And that goes with forget about it.
Yes.
just let it go. Let it be. And that's like what I'm like, okay, just let it go. And I think for me, to help me like get focused and be like, okay, no. Slow down, girl. Slow down. Is with the current goal I'm working on, does this task or great idea or opportunity, as exciting as it is, will this get me to my goal or will it take me away? And that has been significant in my focus. Just asking that question. Will it get me closer to my goal or will it take me further away? And if it takes you further away, forget about it. Just forget about it for now. If it's a for now, or just forget about it completely. So
absolutely. Yeah, we all have issues conquering our squirrel moments. Just like, oh, okay, that over there looks great. Let me run after it. And yeah, sometimes you got to slow it down and just stay focused.
Yes. Very tough to do though, just like delegation. And then finally, number 5, which is something that I've had to learn to do and still am learning to do, to give, to receive, and to walk in, which is give yourself and others grace. Because we are not perfect. We never will be. And mistakes happen. We're a work in progress. We will make progress. Sometimes maybe seem to get a little stuck, maybe even fall back a little bit, but pick ourselves back up. At least that's the journey for me, but I'm still always going. And to allow others the grace as well to make mistakes and to learn with you, especially when it's coming to delegation. You didn't master it in the beginning. How do you expect them to master it? Unless you're paying top dollar for a consultant and expert that's supposed to know this significantly more than you.
True.
You know? And even they can make mistakes, but there are some things that would be intolerable for a situation like that. But as far as like team members or people that you're asking to help you, like I would love to say that everything I set out to do works out perfectly according to how I saw it and how I planned for it to go. But that has not been a reality for me. If you're planning an event, let's say a graduation party, you could run into terrible weather. As much as we don't want that, that can happen. We don't have control over that. Or it could be 100 degrees and humid, and you didn't get all those, whatever. They do have like those outside air conditioners. I don't even know how those work, and they're probably a fortune. I mean, they might be a little extravagant expense to have on backup, like just in case, you know? So it's just things like that. You can't control everything. You can't necessarily plan for everything, or it might not be in your current resources you have accessible to do anything about. Like, for example, I mean, sure, there are ways to back up. If it's 100 degrees and humid, there are very expensive things that you can do to try to make your guests comfortable under that tent by zapping out the humidity. Not everyone is going to be that extravagant. Not everyone has the resources to pay for that. So there are just some things that you do have to let go of, and to just have grace, and then also to add gratitude.
Oh, definitely. Oh. God knows. In those moments of gratitude, you know, it help kind of calm you down as well. When you think about the many things that have gone right and have gone well and have gone your way, it kind of helps you to kind of minimize the things that may not necessarily be working in your favor at that moment.
Yes. And now, any experience with you on just accepting that mistakes happen, people make mistakes? I mean, some people are way more laid back. I can be a little bit not grounded in reality with some things. So, but some people have more of a realistic approach of not everything's going to go right or whatever. So that could resonate with you or not. Maybe you are more laid back. So for the people like me, what can we hear?
Well, I definitely haven't always been that great in that area because, you know, again, I know how I like things done, and when they're not necessarily done that way, it can be a bit frustrating, but I am learning to have conversations with people. When things don't necessarily go my way, I just take a moment to just kind of step back and just assess the situation and kind of figure out, you know, what went wrong, or if someone else was involved, and have conversations with them in a calm way. And not just jump to conclusions or just say, well, no, this is the way I wanted it kind of thing, because getting worked up, having a hissy fit, whatever it is that anyone may do, it doesn't change the situation at hand. So I try to kind of do some breathing in that moment, just say, okay, you know what? Not really happy about this right now, but tripping or flipping out is not going to change it. How can we change gears and get to where I want to be? And, you know, sometimes, like you said, it is a matter of just saying, you know what? Okay, well, all we can do is just move forward, and that's that. And that's great. Ideally, things would be perfect, but we do not live in a perfect world.
Yep. So to recap, we have said for conquering the chaos, I originally had 5 steps, but expounded way beyond that.
Just a little bit.
So we have, write it down.
Exactly. that one is definitely still number 1.
Just get it out of your head. Yeah. Number 2, prioritize it. So, you know, if it's not a heck yes, it's a no. We recommended the book Essentialism and a couple of apps like Dropbox and things to help you with the getting things out of your head and prioritizing things, you know, if you're thinking on the go. Also, enlisting, and I don't know where that fit in, but enlisting the help of loved ones, asking yourself, what did I do to get in this situation?
Yes. First, asking the question and see if you can figure it out on your own, and also enlisting the help of others to help you figure it out as well.
Then delegate, and we expounded quite a bit on that.
Yes, we did.
That the leadership skill you said, and that is something that takes time to develop, but it is something that you need to learn to do as soon as possible. Number 4, forget about it. Let it go and let it be. For some people, that may come easier than others.
Yes, cue songs from Frozen. You know, I have 3 little girls.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, there we go. Let it go. Or the Beatles song, Let It Be.
As you mentioned, number 5, simply just give yourself grace and other people grace. No one is perfect. Mistakes happen. Things don't always go according to plan. And all you can do is just kind of, you know, reassess, reevaluate, and keep it moving on to the next point.
Yes. And then to add, I think I added in that 5th point, which could be a 6th point or whatever number we're on, gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
And be grateful. Be grateful for what it is that you have, what the progress you're making, the people you have around you that are helping and supporting you, and just really being alive.
Absolutely. And in that gratitude, it helps you minimize things and helps you really put things in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, that was probably 8 things. I'll have to go through and actually count it and probably have the podcast title be right. That was the X number of things to conquer the chaos. And that you guys are listening to Stephanie O'Brien and Cache Prescott over at careercache.com. And it's been fun, Cache. It's been fun.
I had a good time, and I can't wait for us to discuss our next topic.
Ooh. Do you want to talk about what the next topic is?
Oh, yes. This is the whole concept of kind of revisiting your goals. Stephanie and I talked about the fact that, you know, we all get caught up in the euphoria of the new year, and we write our goals down and, you know, do the goal setting thing, and then we completely forget about those things. We don't revisit them. We don't even pay them any attention. And so now we are going to talk about how you can kind of revisit those goals and get back on track and finish out 2015 on a strong note and also look toward 2016.
I'm really excited about that one, and that does kind of go hand in hand with conquering the chaos. Getting back on track is a big deal with conquering the chaos, but we're going to do a whole episode on revisiting goals, getting focused again, getting back on track. I can't wait for that one, Cache. It's going to be awesome. Well, it was so fun to chat with you and to just really add value. I thank you for the time to help co-host this with me, and I know that the listener got a great deal of value hearing someone else in a little bit different capacity beyond interviews. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks again.
Well, thank you. I had such a great time. When people show that they don't trust you, it really doesn't make you motivated to give them your best.
Well, there you have it. That completes the 8 Steps to Conquering Chaos series. And make sure that you connect with Cache Prescott over at careercache.com. Check the Career Clarity Mastermind group out. It is in the show notes. Make sure that you sign up. She has a really, really good promo price going on, and I would get on it if I were you. You get tons and tons of value for an extremely affordable price. And also, if you want to work individually, make sure that you sign up for a clarity session with me. If you need help conquering chaos, getting back on track, coming up with goals, or even clarifying what the heck that it is that you want, where you're going, helping hone in on a business idea, or maybe your career transition, I am happy to help. And make sure that you sign up for a clarity session or check out my coaching packages over at movedbypurpose.net. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe, rate, and write a review for this episode. Share it with a friend or family member that could benefit from it. This helps me get found by more people and helps increase the impact that I love to make in the world. And I will talk to you all next week.